Y'all get ready. It's the hunt for Bolivar. Sometime during this live feed, either during or after, we're going to give out the clue for today's Hunt for Bolivar 2024. Y'all stay tuned. Hey everybody, I'm David with Bolivar Live, and welcome to another Ask Me About Bolivar. We're here over the last couple months. We've been highlighting the businesses here on Bolivar Peninsula, family-owned businesses that not only are family-owned, but they put a lot back into the community. Today, we're going to talk about Jose's Cajun Seafood and Steakhouse, and I'm here with his daughter, Christina. And I can tell you, I can remember when Christina was about Timmy's age right now, growing up. But, you know, I've watched your family and always talk about knowing your family. Your dad and I go back probably 30 years, 35 years, back when he worked at Steve's Landing and he pulled my shorts down in the middle of the restaurant. But y'all give back to the community. And through Ike, you came back. Let's talk about how it all started. When did your dad come down here?
To the peninsula in 1985.
1985, and from what I understand, he did a lot. He did some stuff in Galveston and over here, and worked actually 2 jobs for a long time, night and day. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes, when he was working in Galveston, he actually worked at the Mario's on the seawall.
Right.
And then I've always asked him, Dad, how did you end up on the Bolivar Peninsula? And he says that he couldn't find nothing to rent in Galveston, so he just took the ferry over and landed on this side. On this side,
huh? I know he used to shuck oysters at Milt's, I think, or somewhere over here. He'd work over at Mario's and then shuck oysters over here. Y'all started your restaurants, or he got into the restaurant business. He's always loved to cook. What's the progression on that? Where all has he been over here?
He actually started off with Mr. George Radis at Stingray.
Oh, did he? Okay. In the kitchen, I guess?
Kitchen, yes, sir.
Okay.
And then where people actually got to meet the face to the food was when he started working with Steve Anthony at Steve's Landing.
Right. And we know Steve, actually the restaurant's not even there anymore. Steve passed away in a motorcycle wreck. And that's where I came in when I was guiding. Came in to meet Jose, and every time I come in, he'd come out and talk a little bit. And then where did it evolve from there?
Unfortunately, like you said, after Steve's accident, Dad decided to go on his own adventure. Okay. Open up his own restaurant, and he first opened up where the Kite Shop is now.
Okay. The old number 17 was the breakfast burrito that we used to get after a fishing trip. And then Ike hit. Where did he go from there?
Actually, when Ike hit, he actually closed the restaurant down 2 weeks prior.
Oh, did he?
To Ike hitting. And then he was going to go work with David.
Okay.
David Holzer, when it was going to be coconuts.
Yeah.
And after Ike, he was one of the first few people feeding the volunteers and workers that were cleaning up the peninsula to get it restored.
Great. Great. Let's talk about the big adventure. Started out there at Monk House, where I guess his brother is now. And I can remember I had an office. My first office was next to it, and he used to come over all the time and say, what do you think about this? In my office, the restaurant he had was smaller, a whole lot smaller than y'all have now. So was my office, because it was an 8 by 12 room, and that's where we started at. But you know, I've watched y'all evolve, and you've always worked for him, and then you left for a little bit, and then you figured out you need to be back down here on Bolivar, I think. You got married, had kids. Let's talk about Jose's, because that was a big step for the family. When y'all got the building, not only do you have the restaurant downstairs, but you have the sports bar upstairs. How's that evolved over the years?
It's definitely gone from the small little Mexican restaurant to just serving beer and some wine to a full-blown bar, full capacity restaurant, ballroom, semi-event center, because we have held a couple events in the back room.
And you added that big screen that drops down, and I tell you what, for events especially, or presentations, that's really a great addition to it. Where do you see Jose's going?
Hopefully we can still be a staple for a long time. You know, it's a family argument. A lot of people are like, well, who's going to take it over?
Okay,
right
that's the big...
Right now, Timmy's the running for the number one spot.
And if y'all don't know Timmy running around, he's about 3.5 foot tall. And so, what about Chris, your other son?
Christopher, he likes it, but he's more brains. Brains.
Maybe he can take Maria's place, and Timmy can
take my place.
Your place. So, you know, Jose's, like I always say, has been a part of Bolivar Peninsula as long as I can remember. The family, I've watched the kids grow up, and it's really neat. Watched 2 of the daughters get married, all 4 of them graduate. Now we've got your kids and Maria's kids running around there. And one thing's for sure, you can always get hot food there. What do y'all do? I know your dad changes specials up. How does he come up with those a lot?
Mom.
Or is it a group? Is it
I'm
your
like
mom?
Mom. Mom does most of the lunch specials because she's the one that stays in the kitchen during lunch. Dad's more dinner.
Okay.
And like I tell people, I'm like, Dad can cook anything but Mexican rice.
But Mexican rice,
he's not allowed to touch it.
I guess the Mexican rice is something special that your mom still takes care of.
Yes, sir.
Well, if you haven't been to Jose's, it's definitely a place you want to go and eat. It's very, very family oriented. They do have a sports bar upstairs for adults. They have dart night and pool tournament night and specials, and I can tell you the whole family's a big Astros fan.
Oh yes.
And so they've always, especially if the Astros make the playoffs, you're always giving away tickets and rings and T-shirts and all kinds of stuff there. So, well, Christine, what's the address there for Jose's?
1021 Highway 87, in front of the new 409 Hotel, I believe.
Yep.
And next to Hardheads.
Great. Well, for a great Mexican dinner, a great seafood dinner, and, you know, in season, they have the oysters all you can eat. In season, they have crawfish all you can. And I tell you, the crawfish, I've never had crawfish like your dad's. And there's a secret ingredient that he puts in the bowl, but I promise not to tell you. But I can tell you, I've never had them peel as easy, even the small ones. Peel as easy and taste as good as they do. So anyway, check them out online. You can find them on Facebook at Jose's Cajun Seafood and Steakhouse. They're at 1021 Highway 87. They do have breakfast on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, starting at 7:30, and they cut it off about 10:30, 10:45. The only day that they're closed during the week is Wednesdays, and they open at 11 o'clock any day that they're not serving breakfast. So, Christina, thanks for joining us. We're going to head on out. Remember, Jose's Cajun Seafood and Steakhouse, family-owned, family-operated, a big part of Bolivar Peninsula and Team Bolivar. Well, it's time for today's Hunt for Bolivar clue for Wednesday, June 26th. But first, I want to thank the sponsors. Our presenting sponsor for this year is The Big Store, our Bolivar Peninsula Superstore.